We're live. How's it going, everyone? Today is going to be kind of an interesting video, a little bit of a different video as well. We are not doing track wiring, maybe not. We're not laying down track this time. I've got a little bit of track work left on the yard before I'm really considering that portion of everything done. Can you hear me okay? Let me do it. Hello. Let me do this. Hi, everyone. If I put it way back here, it's hard to hear, I think, but I think we're bringing it over here. It's going to be a little bit easier. We're not going to be doing regular track work or wiring or what we've kind of been doing the last couple of weeks. Instead, I'm going to take advantage of this Memorial Day weekend to get some progress done on some of the bigger stuff. So what I really need to do is I need to complete the wiring across this bad boy here so that I can run a full loop of track around here. So I can get kind of trains running in a loop. Something I've not been able to do in many, many years with a model railroad, and something I've been looking forward to for a very long time with this one. But I haven't gotten completed yet. So that's what today's going to be about. It's going to be getting that completed. So let's talk about what we're going to do. So I have 14 gauge copper clad wire, which will be my bus line that's going to connect everything going on this side of the railroad with everything going on over there. It's got a bridge over this door though. So I'm going to actually run it up the wall, into the ceiling, across the ceiling, back down, and onto the other side. If you've been following my layout for a little while now, you know that, and if you've been checking out my track plan, you know that I have two main lines. I have an outside line, which is my Union Pacific main line. BNSF uses it as well. And then the inside line here is going to be the Meadowland Falls line. Across this gap here, I've got these two lines running in parallel with a crossover in between. Last time I did a layout progress video, I talked about how, it was going to be kind of an issue because I have these two main lines. These are separate blocks as well. So like the wiring in this whole area was going to be pretty complex. I decided to make some adjustments there. Hey, I see chat's going. I'm going to go step over there in a second and say hi and see what's going on there. But just to get started today, get this out of the way. So, but essentially, long story short, what I decided to do was at the point of the swing gate, instead of having two separate blocks, we're just going to go with one block. And it's going to be wired to the Meadowland Falls Railroad portion of the layout. So that's greatly simplifies the wiring that has to go across my swing gate. That greatly simplifies the wiring that has to go up into the ceiling. It greatly simplifies the wiring once I get around to actually putting in all my safety measures so that when I have this gate open, there's no power running to the tracks that move along this gate. So all that's to say is it's going to be much simpler than I kind of originally thought it would be. So that's what we're going to work on today. Not traditional model railroading in a sense, but, working more along just running, fishing, wiring around and running stuff through the room, stuff like that. That is an important part of model railroading when you're building a permanent layout, but not necessarily the most glamorous part of model railroading, if that makes sense. All right, let's check out chat real quick, and then I'm going to step away from that, and we're going to just get started. Hold on a second here. Let me read this again. I have to read this twice because I'm not sure. White and Sandy said, I built my N-scale layout with old wood bed and waterbed wood. Oh, and it came out okay. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you reuse whatever you can, certainly. I used an old door from my grandmother's basement for my N-scale layout. I built it right on that door, and it turned out amazing that way. I thought you said originally you built it on a waterbed. I'm like, how did that work? But you use the wood from a waterbed. That's awesome. I wonder how I was talking to my wife about this. Like, did waterbeds just kind of like go out of, I know they went out of style, but like Does anybody make a waterbed anymore? I remember like having friends when I was a kid with water beds. Like their parents had water beds, and I thought it was just the coolest thing in the world. And now I look back on them like that. It was never comfortable. It's kind of gross. Anyways. They disappeared, and I think it was probably a good idea that they did. Okay. I think first things first is I got to actually run the wire into the ceiling before I get too far. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm going to talk louder. This is a nice microphone, but it's kind of directional. So if I'm like facing away from it, it's not going to pick up the sound as well. And I do apologize for that. We're going to talk a little bit louder so that hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm going to pull down a couple of panels, I think. So I'm going to run, can you see? I'm running the wire kind of up against this crack and up into the top there. And it's going to come out again right. I haven't decided if I want to go as far over as here or right here. I think I'm going to come out right here. Because then I can hide. I'm going to have an opening here. You'll be able to see in. And I don't want to necessarily see that wire there. So I think I'm going to come out here. That'll give me a little bit of a night. Well, let's see the wire coming out. This is where we kind of hem and haw for a little while until we come up with a solution. I ran the wire in the ceiling in the corners over there, and it worked better over there in the corners because they were sharper. Hey, Taylor, how's it going? Hey, Taylor, so do you live over there by Sandpoint? Do you get to see Union Pacific run by there often? Do they just run the one train? Do they just run the potash train? Do you know that? I haven't been able to get that figured out. I'm going to go ahead and run the wire right here. Because I think I'm going to build like a tunnel liner. It's going to curve this, so it should actually run past the line. So I'm going to run the wire right there. This is kind of tricky. I've got I remember now what was going on here. I've got, I have ductwork right above my head here, so it's not going to come out very easy. There's the ductwork. I'm going to have some repair work to do on that ceiling before I can paint it and everything. This one's easier. Okay, I need 10 snips, and I forgot the instruction, so I'm going to go get that real quick.
What is your favorite philosopher? I know what it is. I'm going to fix that later. Who's your favorite? Blue! Blue! I love you, Blue! 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 What were you saying, Georgia? But what is your favorite philosopher? Blue! Can get off the road? Yes. Blue, come back to me. It's either Charlie or Echo. Okay, well, I already got Echo because Echo is my personal favorite. Can you do Charlie? Can you do Blue next? Yeah. I'll then have. Oh my gosh, no! Don't attack! Oh my gosh!
I believe I misplaced my tin snips. I have these guys. See if those work. My son is watching me do this, and he is yawning. You're bored? Is this boring to you? Ah, shoot. I need those tin snips. Let me check that room back there real quick. Man, I am jealous. I wish I was living over there. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate the comment. Yeah, I live in Illinois, and so like learning anything about this railroad that I'm modeling has been a little tricky. You find what you can online, but like any insight that anybody can provide, I'm always very, very happy to get. Thank you. Dog, get out, dog. Upstairs. Get upstairs. Here, you go upstairs. Go on, go.
Stop.
We are fostering a basset hound. He's a sweet, sweet dog. Sweet, sweet basset hound. But he is he's been testing our patience. Okay, I don't have tin snips. I don't know what happened to them. And I super needed them. I'm gonna try with these again. Well, it's working, but not well. Well, I bent it more than I cut it. But it did do what it was supposed to do, so. Yeah, I've got a Jack Russell too. My wife's dog is a Jack Russell. I like her. She's a sweet dog. Not my favorite kind of dog. She's really high strung. And she's kind of jealous and barky and just not, I don't know. She's my wife's dog, you know? She's my wife's dog. I love her. I do. I love the dog. But I'm a Basset Hound man. I love me a good Basset Hound. All right. I think what I'm going to do is, because I can't cut this, so I have those dang tin snips. We're going to bend this and hopefully not ruin everything doing it. Okay. Collies are good dogs. What do you think, Ben? Collie or Basset Hound? Or Jack Russell? He's just staring at me. My son is 3 months old. He's just getting to that age where, like, he has opinions about things now. Actually, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should take this. Okay. Push that. Hopefully, I can fish that out. Not having to pull more paneling down. We got one of them. I didn't think I got that red one as far across as I did the black. Yeah, no, I didn't. Let's see if I can roll it. I don't think I did. I don't want to do it too. There we go. I probably did it. Yep. Cool. Okay. Bless you, buddy. All right, I think I'm going to reseat this now. This panel is going to need to get cut a little bit to make room for that. I can't imagine having a 3-year-old Jack Russell. Mine, when he first came to me from my wife, was 9, and that was a crazy dog as a 9-year-old. I can't imagine a 3-year-old Jack Russell or even younger one. She said he was a nightmare when he was a puppy. And I can believe it. Or she was, I should say. It's a girl. Can I tell you that I hate drop ceilings? But it's going to have to be a drop ceiling. All right. I think what we're going to end up doing is taping over this little hole. Oops, sorry. There's a little hole. It's hard to see here. I can see it pretty well. I'm going to end up taping over that thing, I think, at one point so that I can, and then when I paint over it, you won't be able to see that very much at all. It's pretty apparent now, but I think once we get the paint in, it'll be all right. Hey, how's it going? Human City, how you doing, man? It's model railroad. I mean, you know how model railroading is. It's half model railroading is half general construction, half model railroading, right? So if you're late, let me tell you what's going on here. I am running wiring for my swing gate, which means I have to run the wiring over top of my door so that I can get from one side of the room to the other. So that's what we're doing today. We are running wiring through the ceiling. Then we're going to wire everything up down below. And it's a plan. Want to get a big loop of track running in a trains in loop by the end of Memorial Day weekend. And so in order to do that, I need to put a little work in. I need to do something I've been avoiding just because it's messy and I hate wiring. Try to make this hole smaller because I made that other one kind of big. the worst part. Well, it's not terrible. What do you think, buddy? My son does not approve. Okay. The worst of it is over. It's the worst is over, buddy. It's true. Worst is over. So what do I got now? So I got the wire running. And you hook it up on that side, hook up on that side. Hooking up on this side won't be too bad. All I gotta do is basically some spade connectors, run it through a little hole you see right there, and we're good to go. The other side is gonna be a little trickier, but we'll make that happen. Let me grab my spade connectors real quick here. What, buddy? Got a few different sizes. These guys here, I'm gonna make sure they fit. And they do. So we're gonna go ahead and connect those. I think I'm gonna solder the wire to the spade connector as well, just to ensure that I've got a better connection between those two. So that means I gotta get my soldering iron out. What do you think, buddy? Yeah. My son also hates soldering as much as his dad does. Hopefully you guys have been working on your layouts during this time of quarantine. Spending some time inside in the basement. I have not done as good a job on that as I would have, as I probably should have. My basement is my layout room, and it is my office. And so after a long day in the office, I don't really want to spend more time in the basement, generally. So I generally don't. I generally leave at the end of the day after working, go upstairs, play video games, do something other than model rewriting. This is kind of awkward, this like setup. I apologize for how not ideal it is, but I'm not working on something tiny over a workbench right now. I'm working on something kind of big. I don't know a better way to do it. Okay, I added flux to the end of this wire. I'm not gonna be able to see that very well from way over there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the spade connector on it. So it's mostly most of the wires within it. Just a little tip of the wire sticking out of the top of that connector. You won't be able to see that very well, but trust me, it's there. And now we're going to crimp. I'm going to crimp on the middle setting. I think that's going to give me the best results. Yep. That is good and tight on there, but we're going to make sure that connection is even better with some solder. And let's do the same over here on this one. I'm going to actually put a little more solder on this one than I did last time because I want that solder to flow down into that crimped joint pretty good. Right, Betty? You're sleepy. You want to go to bed. You got up early today. Okay, that's crimped on there too. And then we'll just use solder to secure that nicely. Let me get my helping hands. Okay. I swear I've done more soldering in the last week than I have in the last 10 years. I don't know if that's warm enough yet. I don't know if it's warm enough. Let's talk. How's it going, everyone? What do we got going on over here in chat? Well, as long as you guys are making progress in your layouts, that's all that matters. It's not even really super warm yet. Oh, I had it turned down really low. Dang it. Always the little things. Oh, my son is going to sleep. He's a sleepy peepee. Mm-hmm. Soldering and making bombs during the war. Is that what your mom did? Was she a Rosie the Riveter type? Let that heat up a little bit more. I will let you in on. I've been having issues with this swing gate. It is. You tuned in last week. You saw how tight it was. It's expanding and contracting and doing all the things I didn't want it to do. It's frustrating. So I ended up cutting. It's expanded quite a bit, and just wouldn't close. So I ended up trimming it up quite a bit in order to make it work. Sanded down the edges and then trimmed some of the metal away from the ties because they were expanding as well. I think we got a lot of rain recently, so I think it's, although I've kept this room warm and dry, I think it's made its way in. So like now it's still tight, but at least it'll come open and close easy. And it'll line up. It was not lining up before. So that's frustrating. But I mean, you can kind of see, no, you really can't. The little light part right there is where I sanded away there. I sanded away this edge. I mean, it comes together properly now. And it's a little tight to try to close up, which I'm fine with it being a little difficult to close as long as it comes together in the same spot every time and it's nice and secure. Fine with that. I mean, this is kind of a duck under / swing gate, so I don't need to swing nicely and smoothly. Like that swing gate over there works perfectly every single time. It lines every single time perfectly. Not an issue. I think it's because I used like 1x3 lumber and I boxed it in, so I kind of made a whole like box system, which I for me secured this together, whereas this is just a piece of plywood that I have stained and sealed in an attempt to keep it from bending and warping, but it still seems to kind of move a little bit too much. This weekend I'm going to go get some plexiglass. Yeah, plexiglass, the plastic stuff, so that I can run some protective barriers along the front and the back. I'm going to screw that in, so hopefully like that'll give it a little more rigidity, or maybe keep it from wanting to do a whole lot of bending and twisting and pushing and pulling. We'll see. I'm going to get the thicker stuff. But before I start running trains just willy-nilly on this thing, there's a potential to lose trains over the edge on this with the opportunity for it to derail along here where the bridge meets the track, and I've got a crossover here in the middle as well. So there's opportunities for derailment, which could lead to trains falling to the floor. So we're gonna put a little plexiglass little wall up here to keep it from doing so. It'll be scenic and look really pretty in the end eventually. But for now, that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully that helps sort of like solidify things a little bit. This may end up becoming a just a drop-in removable section as opposed to a swing gate. Like I originally wanted it to be. That swing gate over there is working perfectly fine. Track work's terrible on it. I'm redoing the track work, but the gate itself is not budging. It's not moving at all. So once I get the track work right, that'll be perfectly fine. That's too big for a lift-out section anyway. This thing here, this could be a lift-out section if I needed it to be. I would just prefer it as a swing gate, just because it'd be super nice. Okay, let's see. That's going to be warm enough, I think. Yep. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to just run a solder down in there. So it's a little at risk of ruining track if I'm doing it this way. Let's do that. Not the cleanest solder job in the world, let me tell you. But it's getting done. It's happening. It's doing what it's supposed to do. All right, let's do this one now. Sorry I got my back to you guys. This isn't the best way to present my work. But yeah, okay, so spade connectors are soldered to the wire now, so those are ready to go. Okay. So I'm gonna move this over here for now. I've got a hole I've already pre-drilled, and I've pre-installed a terminal below that hole. These will go into that terminal. That's hot still from the solder. These will go into that terminal so that I can then connect them to the bus line. If for some reason I need to unhook everything from the terminal in order to diagnose a problem or pull out a section of the layout to replace later or expand later, I don't know. I just decided it was easier to run stuff in the terminals at these points where I'm kind of having to go over doors than to just kind of like connect directly to the bus line and run it that way. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's what I'm doing. Cool. Let me move the camera so you can see what's going on down below. Well, you may not be able to see because of the lighting conditions being so bad. Let me see if I can adjust my light. How's that look? Oh yeah, you can totally see what's going on now. All right, cool. All right, so these guys are going to go right into that terminal. And then I'm going to connect from my bus line into that terminal, and we'll be good to go that way. So yeah, let me get a screw real quick. We'll get that in there. Okay. please. Oh, here's kind of a fun thing. Let me see if I can show you this. Oh, no, I can't. Right below here. It's hard to see, but right below there, I have in marker written, Layout construction starting 3/30/19. It's when I actually started the bench work on my model railroad, which is kind of fun. So when the alien archaeologists come here one day, they can see, oh, this weirdo was playing with trains back in 3/19. And what's would be more likely is when my son goes to tear down this track after it died, you can be like, oh wow, he started this 1 year before I was born. Actually, it's kind of interesting to think like how far I've come in that year. That year's time. I worked so slow that like part of me was like not sure I'd be able to get as far as I did in that first year. I got pretty far. And then I stopped because I had a kid coming and I had the rest of the house to kind of get ready for him. So I took quite a bit of time off last year getting the house ready for him. And now he's here. Actually, I want to put that over there. What am I doing? What are you doing, Matt? Let's put it on that one. Okay, I can do 2 terminal blocks with black and 2 terminal blocks with red. Is that in there good? No, that's not. Okay, that is good. All right, leave it like that for now. Okay, so next steps. Okay, next steps are going to be this. You can see how bad the lighting is in this room. I really hate it. I cannot wait. Okay, I cannot wait to get some better lighting in this room. Next steps will be to essentially take this, run it off the wall, and hide it. So while I'm doing that, I have purchased a cord hiding system. So came with 4 of these guys. I got 2 left, and they were pretty easy. They tape right to the wall, and you can stick it on there, bring your stuff up. Super cool. So we're gonna measure, cut this. It'll be good. You are correct. AT 2020. the Thinking Man's microphone. No, I like it a lot. The USB, so go straight in the computer. Nice sound. I was a podcaster for many years, so I needed a nice microphone for that. One thing is, it doesn't work great from a distance. So, but yeah, I'm a fan of the AT 2020. Yeah, I did not get the XLR version because I have nothing to plug it into. My podcasting buddy got a nicer microphone than he spent like 3 times what I did on his microphone. I spent about $100. He spent about 300. So he got a nice XLR microphone, but he got like a mixing. Like he spent some money. He got a mixer, everything for the podcast. So he spent some money. I did not. Oh, I should have showed you what I did. Dang it. I just made a cut with the good old trusty Dremel. So cut this a little shorter. This is going to go right here. It doesn't need to go all the way down because this is going to be hidden by backdrop anyway, but this is really just to kind of guide the wire. All I really need to do now is just decide where I'm going to place this because my wall is not super straight. I'm going to place it like there. Okay. So let's go ahead and just run the wire into this. This is where I wish I had tunes. I don't have any music. But maybe not necessary for what I'm doing. Cool. My boy fell asleep. Harris Heller. Let me write that down real quick. I want to stream with music. I probably need to mix it in to make it good. Here, hold on, let me write this down. I probably need to find a way to mix it on the computer before it goes out to you guys. I'm going to have to do some research. pinched in there, so it's not going to move. Didn't want to have to do that, but we're doing it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the tape off this. Peel the backing off this tape. We're going to put it in place. Very nice. It's very nice. Easy nice. How do you say it's nice? Getting weird now. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So that we'll just go up here. Right back there. So I can put that back down. Cool. Excellent. Awesome. Most part. Looks good. Pretty well hidden. Once you get backdrops and painted, painted backdrops and scenery in here, nobody's going to be looking at any of that. They're going to be looking at your railroad. Oh, my son is 3 months old. 3 months old. 3 months. He's a sweet little baby boy. Did I get any drywall in my soda? I don't think so. Now we gotta do that side. We're gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be a little trickier just because I don't have as much slack on this side. We'll make it work. I'm always missing stuff. I'm always losing it. I swear half of building small road is like figuring out where to last set stuff. Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to say that's good for now. Move those out of the way. Don't need that anymore. So over over here, I'm going to run this wiring down the same way I did the other one. It's going to be a little more visible this time, unfortunately, I think. I don't think I'm going to be able to hide it as easy. I'm going to run the wiring down. It's going to go into a hole where it will end in a terminal block, very similar to what was going on over there. A little bit of a bigger terminal block because I got a lot of things that are going to run into that, including I've got switch machines, Tortoise switch machines. I've got turn out some cells. I've got a little bit of road. This is like the other side of the swing gate, so there's going to be we're going to cut the power off to this side about 3 feet this direction as well. Whenever the swing gate is open, so I need to be able to make that happen. Also, have to put a control panel in here one day, not this year, probably not next year, but eventually in a couple of years, we're gonna have a control panel in the front here so I can operate my staging yard manually from the control panel. So there's a few things I got to go in. So we're gonna have a little bit of a larger terminal there for this. So yeah, so we're gonna do exactly what we did over here. We're gonna drill a hole, run everything through, hook everything up to a terminal. So the question is, how do I have time for model railroading with a 3-month-old? And the answer is, if you've been following me for like the last month or a month and a half, you can see just how little work I've done on the rail. I'm only really working on it about 2 hours a week at this point. So how do I have time? I don't. I go very slow. That's how I have time, is I just very slow. All right. Let me check underneath my table because I can't remember exactly where I ran braces. Okay, so it looks like this corner back here is brace free. I'm going to have some, sorry about that. Oh my gosh, it was right next to the microphone too. Sorry. Yeah, I have 2 gates. So I'm not sure exactly what you're saying about jumping the gap. What I'm doing here with the wiring here, I did the exact same thing on the other side as well. I just did that like last year. So ran wiring up the wall, across the ceiling, back down again, so I could bridge that door over there too. So because there's 2 gates, I have to do it that way. My power station has to cross over both gates to get to the other side of the room where the rest of the layout is. It's a bit of a tricky deal, but working so far. So we're going to go ahead and do what we did last time, which was solder up some spade connectors. So let's get that soldering iron heated back up again. Got a piece of masonite. See, here's this thing where it like, this room is not that big. How am I losing stuff constantly in this room? My son was looking at me like, Dad, you did it again? Seriously? Oh, there it is. See, this is why I try to keep my room clean, because I'm so quick to like lose stuff. How quickly does one lose things? Very quickly, apparently. Let me run this through here just to see how much slack I have. I actually don't have a ton, so I'm just going to attach them right to the end. Any slack that I do have, I'll push that into the ceiling. So that the wiring underneath the layout at least stays kind of nice and clean looking. I am taking suggestions, by the way, on what I should do about lighting in this room. If anyone has any experience with lighting, ceiling lights, drop ceilings, that kind of thing. I'm obviously going to go LED for cost savings, safety from overloading, electrical, that kind of thing. I need room for the model railroad stuff in addition to the model railroad room. I do. That back room back there that's currently my wife's room. I have a feeling one day when one of my children's, two of my children's move out, that she'll move her craft stuff into their room. And I will get that room as my, my workspace. So that this will be nice, be able to be like a nice, clean model railroad room. And then back in there is where I have all the junk. That's like 10 years away, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I am eyeballing it. If I do decide to expand the layout, it would go back in that room too. And I have designed a track plan for that possibility. But I don't know that I would ever do that. I have got enough planned on this layout to last for a very long time. I have decades worth of plans for this layout. Is anyone following James McNabb's Hills line that he's building now? He is a gentleman who built the Grimes line. If you got Model Railroader magazine, you would have seen his stuff in the last few years. He has a very, he's got a smaller space. I would say his space is probably about the same size as mine. So 14 by 20-ish. But he hasn't filled it with layout like some people do. He's going with the less is more approach. And I really dig that approach. So just enough layout to kind of get a good operating session going. You know, kind of do your thing. But we're going to solder right here. Not so much that you become overwhelmed or have to make compromises in order to get that done. So what do I mean by that? When you have twice the layout, it takes twice the time to lay track. So you may not like necessarily decide like, hey, I'm going to, let me move this camera in a little bit better position for you. Here, that way I can sort of look in the camera while I'm talking. So anyway, yeah, if you have twice the layout, you have twice the track, which means you may not be inclined to super detail your track. You may not want to add joint bars. Joint bars is something I want to add. So I'm going to spend maybe twice as long on my track as somebody with a larger layout. But in the end, my track will have joint bars. Some people may want more track. I want more joint bars. That's just the kind of person I am. Come on. Flow. There you go. So there's a couple of people, there's more than a few. There's a number of people who have taken this sort of less is more approach to model railroading, which I really do appreciate. You know, another reason is just, let's face it, it's expensive. Model railroads are not as cheap as they once were, right? I mean, we all know the cost of a nice DCC sound-equipped locomotive. Smaller layout, you need less locomotives. You need less rolling stock. You need fewer buildings, less track. It's just cheaper overall. So you can spend your money on higher quality things, just get less of them. I think that's kind of a good way to do it. That's not to say that model railroading has to be so it's prohibitively expensive. And I would say in the grand scheme of things, it's probably about average for a hobby of this nature. So one thing I've kind of gotten into recently is like RC cars. RC rock crawlers particularly. And those guys will spend like, you know, they'll put like $1,200 into an RC car. Oh my God, $1,200 RC car. It's insane. Like I'm looking around at my room right now and the locomotives and the cars that I have in this room. And I can say that $1,200 for an RC car is probably, they're probably in better shape than I am at this point. Let's just say that. But you know, then you buy like multiple RC cars, so you're you know, you're getting up there too in price for sure. I do RC planes as a summer hobby, and I enjoy it. Didn't do it much last year, but that will get expensive as well, especially when you do what I do, which is long range flying. So not only are you buying a plane, but you're also buying a lot of radio controlled equipment, which is expensive. Cameras and record cameras and all sorts of other stuff. So what I'm saying is model railroading is expensive, but So is everything. So is everything modeling related. What you can do is be smart about where you spend your money, and so that way you never really regret. I hate regretting purchases. I hate buying something, spending $100 on something and being like, God, man, I wish I didn't spend that money. That was a waste. I only used it for 5 minutes, whatever. I only used it briefly, and now it's gone. That money would have been spent better somewhere else. Model railroading, I feel, although it can be very expensive, like say you are spending, let's use real numbers here, $250 on a locomotive. That locomotive will last you, I don't know, 20 years before it needs to be rebuilt if you're running it regularly. So getting a lot of use out of it, honestly. And because it's HO scale and these new locomotives are like perfect in detail, you're not going to get any better. You might get better decoders. We may go to battery power one day. The shell is still amazing. It still works. And if you need a better decoder, just get a better decoder. Why is this only like partially? What? There's only a sticker over part of this. This is crazy. That sucks. Well, guys, what do I do? So I only got tape over part of it. Do I just run like two small ones, maybe? Stack them on top of each other? I think that's what I do. How much of this can I get down there? I don't think it'll. Yeah. This is the last one of these I got to run. So let me try cutting it and putting it up there and seeing how it works. I think we can probably get away with it just having a sticker on the top half of it. Yeah, I see what you're saying about so that there's no seam. I think so. Like this is the top of my backdrop right here. So like anything behind this is not going to ultimately be seen. But with that being said, I mean, we're talking about maybe a foot. We're only talking about a foot of no tape. And I don't know that it's going to do anything. I think we're okay. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to see if I can do this with you guys so you can see. I like this Dremel. This is a Dremel Micro, battery powered. Very cool, but it doesn't have a whole lot of juice behind it, so it gets caught up sometimes. I think my Christmas present to myself is going to be a better Dremel. Yeah, I think only tape at the top will work. I mean, I've got about a foot here with no tape, so It's going to be behind the backdrop. I'd rather do that than have two, have these two. Because it's the OCD in me, my friends. All right, let's go ahead and get this up. I'm going to face, I guess I got to face it this direction, don't I? Because of the way the tape is. Yeah, I won't be able to do that. Okay, we'll do that. My son's just watching me like, what are you doing, Dad? You're so good. You're so chill. I'm doing this for you. You and I are going to run trains here one day. There's another YouTuber, BA Rail Systems, who has kids, and he has a little wooden train set up in his basement for them to play on while he's working on his, which is kind of cool. But he's got a gorgeous layout going, and I just, man, I'm to be his son and have this like basement that's going to be full of like some amazing. It's going to be huge and it's modeled very nicely. He's doing a really great job. So if you haven't checked him out, check out BA Rail Systems. Or BA Rail System, no S, I should say. He's just doing a bang-up job on his layout. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can see our wire here. I'm going to put some tape over top of this and paint the ceiling eventually once I figure out my lighting situation. So you're not going to be able to see that. A little bit of a seam. You can kind of see wire running, but that's all right. Ta-da! Very nice. Isn't that look good? So we've been going for like an hour and a half. I think that's good. I think that's a good run for today. Like I said, like my goal for this weekend is to get this all wired up. So I got a lot more work I got to do. Well, I won't be doing that on camera for you guys. So, but I mean, let's take a little bit of a back the camera up. Yeah. I mean, ignore the giant mess I made, but we have wire running right there and right there through the ceiling back down. So I've accomplished what I wanted to here. A little bit messy, but it worked out well. So this is model railroading, folks. You know, this isn't necessarily the funnest thing in the world. Running trains is great. Laying down track, modeling, painting scenery, trees, all that stuff is awesome. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there. But the construction part of things is also part of model railroading. So thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you putting up with whatever sound and visual issues there may have been. Me just kind of, looking like this the entire time, where you see in the back of my head. But I do appreciate you stopping by. We're doing this every Saturday around 9 o'clock. I got a little bit of a late start today, but we got going. So thank you again for everyone for stopping by. Thank you for those who participated in the chat room. I appreciate it. I will see everyone next Saturday around 9 a.m. Central, where we will, I don't know what we're going to do. I want to try to get pretty far between now and Saturday. So we're going to get this all wired up and running. maybe we'll run trains for an hour on Saturday. That might be kind of fun just to run trains. Let's set that as a goal. Next Saturday is just going to be running trains and talking and just having fun, just watching trains run around in a circle. I say that knowing that the track work on that swing gate across the room is a little sketchy. So we'll run trains. We'll do that next Saturday. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I will see everyone next time.